At the beginning of the 20th century, Europe was the center of global power. Massive empires controlled territories across Africa, Asia, and beyond. Among them were the United Kingdom, France, Germany, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Russian Empire, and the Ottoman Empire. They were political giants, but also suspicious rivals, constantly competing for dominance and influence. Nationalism was spreading rapidly across Europe. People believed their nation was superior, culturally, militarily, and morally. Smaller nations, especially in the Balkans, wanted independence and expansion. This mix of pride, fear, and territorial ambition made Europe extremely unstable. One small conflict could ignite something much bigger. European powers began investing heavily in military strength. They built massive navies, expanded their armies, and developed modern artillery. The belief was simple: a stronger army would prevent war. But in reality, it only increased distrust. Europe wasn't preparing for peace, it was preparing for conflict. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was visiting Sarajevo. During a public parade, a young nationalist named Gavrilo Princip stepped forward and fired 2 shots. The Archduke and his wife were killed. What seemed like a regional political attack quickly became a global crisis. The Austro-Hungarian Empire blamed Serbia and declared war. Russia mobilized to defend Serbia. Germany supported Austria-Hungary. France and the United Kingdom prepared for conflict. Within weeks, the alliance system transformed a single assassination into a world war. The war divided Europe into 2 major alliances. On one side stood the Allied powers. On the other, the Central powers. Diplomacy collapsed and military mobilization took over. The continent was now fully committed to war. Millions of young men were called to serve. Many believed the war would be short and glorious. They left their homes confident they would return by Christmas. Instead, they entered a brutal and prolonged conflict that would last 4 years. In 1917, after repeated German submarine attacks and economic threats, the United States entered the war. With enormous industrial capacity and fresh troops, America changed the balance of power. The conflict was no longer just European, it was truly global. The war quickly turned into a stalemate. Soldiers dug miles of trenches across the Western Front. They lived in mud, surrounded by rats, disease, and constant fear. Every day meant surviving artillery fire, sniper shots, and sudden attacks. It was a psychological and physical nightmare. World War I introduced terrifying new weapons. Machine guns could kill hundreds within minutes. Poison gas burned lungs and blinded soldiers. Tanks rolled across destroyed landscapes for the first time in history. Technology had transformed war into industrial-scale destruction. By 1917, Russia was collapsing under the pressure of war. Food shortages, military defeats, and economic crisis led to revolution. The Tsar was overthrown, and a new government pulled Russia out of the conflict. This dramatically shifted the balance in Europe. At the same time, American troops began arriving in Europe. Their fresh energy, resources, and industrial power strengthened the Allies. Germany now faced a new and powerful opponent. The momentum of the war began to change. By 1918, Germany was exhausted. Food shortages led to hunger among civilians. Strikes and protests erupted across the country. The army was losing morale, and defeat became inevitable. On November 11, 1918, an armistice was signed. The guns finally fell silent. After 4 devastating years,
The war came to an end, but the damage, human, economic, and political, was immense. In 1919, the victorious nations imposed harsh penalties on Germany. It lost territory, reduced its military, and was forced to pay massive reparations. Many Germans felt humiliated and betrayed. Instead of creating stability, the treaty created resentment. 4 empires disappeared from the map. More than 16 million people had died. Europe's economy was shattered, and the anger left behind would eventually lead to an even more destructive conflict, World War II.